Welcome to the Cherise the Realist Show.
Hey, peace and love to all the Aboriginal, Indigenous, Indians. Hey, y'all, Grand Rising this Sunday. I hope y'all doing great. I hope everything is well on your ends. I just wanted to come in and say what's up first before I played the rest of my little, my little intros and things. But welcome to the show. You all see the title today. Are you Black or copper colored? Identity, politics, and crisis. I think that this time and at this day and age, it's obvious that in America, especially, we deal with identity politics the most. And it's almost perplexing that we as people have issues with the way that we identify due to the continuous and obviously the continuous progression and pushing of misnomers upon us. And it has us in a state of confusion with one another when we talk about how we identify and what way we choose to go about that. So I think it's a good topic to talk about today. Give me a second. I'm gonna shout out the chat and everything. Shout out to y'all for coming in. But I really wanted to just touch on this real quick and show a couple of clips of some things that I saw that was interesting as well. But overall, guys, I hope y'all like that picture that I used as the display. You can see black and copper color look very different. Black and the color copper look very different, okay? So we have to be mindful of what we calling ourselves and how we putting ourselves out here and what we are projecting, especially when we are in, or we are supposed to be in, the knowledge of understanding. And I think it just becomes an issue when we are constantly bickering back and forth about what we should be called, who we are, and things like that, when it should already be crystal fucking clear. Crystal clear. Like, this shouldn't continue to be a debate. It really shouldn't be. But for some reason it is. And yeah, I'm gonna come on back in a second. Let me just show some love to the community. I'm not gonna do too much music playing today because I kind of want to get straight to it.
Say I'm hustling and I'm grinding. I'm making moves with my money on my mind, and I can't fall short. Always keep it thousand, slow mo. Say I'm hustling and I'm grinding. I'm making moves with my money on my mind, and I can't fall short. Always keep it thousand, slow mo.
All right, so peace, y'all. Real quick, I just want to shout out my chat, everyone who showed themselves in the chat. Peace to Big Dog Philly OG, of course, my OG. And of course, he said he copper colored. Shout out to Copper Aborigines. Peace and love, baby. I ain't seen you in so long. Ooh, let me just read this comment. Grand Rising, copper color aboriginals found here by the Europeans, not brought here from Africa by the Europeans, as the schools have taught. Movies that were made by Hollywood, Roots TV series. Shout out to you, copper aborigines. You know what time it is. My big bro, my motherfucking man, my family right here, OTK. Open the knowledge. Peace to you, baby. My sister, copper aborigine is trying it. Okay, my sister, copper goddess, peace and love. How are you today? Marco Power, peace to you, baby. Who else we got in the chat? Straight smoke, peace, love. I'm chestnut. All right, so real quick, and I'm glad that he said that definition. Dang, why this screen looks so small? I don't like this. Hold up, let me see something. Yeah, I don't know if I like this one. Hold up, y'all. Let me see something. Let me see if I could change that for a second. Let me remove that. Cause hold up, I don't like that. All right, boom. Let me see. Let me see how I look now. Okay. So real quick, because I feel like we got to continue to go back over the definition of American. Because it's crazy that, we still arguing with our people about who we are, right? So American, a native of America, originally applied to the Aboriginals or copper-colored races found here by the Europeans, but now applied to the descendants of Europeans born in America. Okay? Now, a brother explained this really well. Let me see if I could switch my screen. Y'all know about the indigenous one, because I feel like I gotta go back to his lecture again, because a lot of us really, well, first I'm gonna go to his lecture first, because I'm not gonna play the whole thing, because there's certain things that he said that I really appreciated. Shout out to Curry Davis. Hey, if any of y'all know his information, reach out to that brother. I love to have him on for 101 Fridays. But anyway, listen, family, your identity is not predicated on your skin color, okay? So let's start there. But we know that our skin color is the closest to a copper color anything than anyone in this fucking world, especially being from the North American mainland. Okay, this idea that we are black like this gentleman's shirt is outrageous. It's outrageous, and we got to do better. I'm gonna open up the panel so we can discuss it even more, but it's like, I can't believe that we were still having these discussions as long as we've been in this space and in this paradigm. Like, if you feel like you want to call yourself black because you're identifying with a certain point in time in our history, like, that's understandable. But even me, I have to continue to say so-called black, because that shit has been predicated in my brain for so long that it's been hard for me to detach from it. But I know now. I know that there's a difference in being copper colored and being black, with black having no standing in law at all. All right.
Now, Compton is 80% Mexican. I had a cousin who just got out of jail. He was in jail for 30 years. And he comes home and he says, what happened to all the people? What happened to all the black folks? They're dead. Dead? What you mean? Well, you wanted to sell crack to each other. You wanted to turn each other into zombies. You wanted to shoot each other so you can buy some Nikes. You want to abort every time you create a baby, you want to abort it. It's called genocide. He's in jail for 30 years. Really retarded kind of cat. Like most of us are, because we don't think. We're told certain things without an explanation. Santa Claus. That's an example, a perfect example. We're told about Santa Claus when we're kids. Our parents tell us this. They lie to us. But when you ask the question, well, how come Santa Claus's clothes never get dirty? In California, they put cotton on their roof and on their grass so they can simulate snow. California's a desert. It doesn't snow there. But the mental capacity that we're in will do anything to keep the charade going. When I was in school, I went to public school, and I don't know why we're still trying to pretend like that's a good thing for our children, when we know we went there and we didn't learn a thing. Down here in the Southeast is some of the worst education in the world, but we keep acting like everything is okay, and watching our children get blown away in the streets. And then doing the same thing we've been doing for the same 100 years. Jesus gonna save us. It ain't happening like that. And we should know better than that now. Your president is about to let millions of immigrants come in here. What does that mean for us? You see the immigrants coming out. I live in a place called Birmingham, Alabama now. There's more Mexican restaurants than black restaurants. Why is that? How come black men in the South don't control none of the mining, none of the timber, none of the waterways, none of the lakes and rivers? This is what you guys are gonna have to do. When I want to fish, I'm gonna have to come to you. When I want wood to build my house, where's our Home Depot? These are questions you're gonna have to start answering, because you're gonna have to be the ones doing it. Because brothers in my generation, we don't do that. We watch sports. We play games. We chase women. We like to skate through life. We're not trying to build anything. When we get together to have some communication, all we want to do is end up fighting, because we don't want to confront what's out there in front of us.
Y'all, we gonna let Indigenous one cook for a second, cause he cooking right here. He cooking, cause he ain't saying nothing but the truth about how our state of being, where we are, and every time we do get into a space where it's time for us to come together, we are always arguing and fighting, and it's sick. Oh man, hold up! Some more people pulled up in the chat. After Mac, hey boo, peace and love to you. Hey John, how you doing? Where's Stanley at? Enox 0407, the American Indian. Peace and love, my baby. Rainwater, peace to you. Can y'all hear it real good? Let me know if y'all can hear this video good. Let me know if y'all can hear it. Put some sunflowers in the chat for me. Let me know that y'all can hear this. Okay. And shout out to everybody that's watching. Listen, we need to really take heed to this. We need to take heed to our behavior, the way that we conduct ourselves, all of us. I'm not talking about not one isolated person. I'm talking about us as a collective unit. Enough is enough. Okay? So I'm showing this, and I feel like I have to show it again. I showed it like a few months ago, but I want to show this again. This is important, because we're going to talk about how we got blacked out, how this black thing happened, right? Why are we calling ourselves something? Why are we calling ourselves the absence of color, the absence of light? You know, and I tried to explain it to one of the sisters, you know, like my skin is not black. My skin is not black, but it is copper. It is a copper brown. It is that. And black people, or so-called black people rather, are different shades of the color brown. So when we gonna stop? When we gonna stop arguing? And when are we gonna pull our resources together and build? Like oh my God. Let me just let him cook, y'all, because he's cooking. And I kind of moved it up a little bit, but it's still early in the lecture.
And we have a job to do, males and females. I'm not one of those cats. We are one people, and we are getting smashed. I'm in college. I'm in the community college, and I asked the teacher taking African American studies. We're talking, and she said, "You have a question." And in Los Angeles, it's a real fake city. Nothing's really real. Everything is Hollywoodish. It's how you look. It's not what kind of person you are. It's how you look. What you got? I asked the teacher one day, I'm like, just a simple question. And her answer let me know that she was lying. I said, where are all the ships that brought all these slaves over here? She put me out the class. Simple question. By that time, I had been through enough school to know that if the teacher got mad at you, she didn't know what she was talking about. So I started to dig. I started to ask brothers in the Navy, you in the Navy, have you ever crossed the Atlantic? Yeah, several times. Where'd you cross from? South Africa to Brazil, Brazil back to Nigeria, Nigeria back to Virginia. In your estimation, sir, is it possible for a ship carrying 400 people chained up? And when I show you the pictures, you're going to be like, because they just tell us stuff. We don't question, they just tell us and we just accept it. When I show you these pictures, you're going to be like, wow. Sir, is it possible for a ship carrying 400 men to cross the Atlantic Ocean? You're like, no. The waves are too rough, too much weight, it can never happen. I still didn't believe them because that's what I was inculcated with. You came from Africa, you was roots. They had a story called Roots when I was your age, come out. Dumbest story ever. This is how most of us believe that we come from Africa. He said, no, just get a picture, and I'm gonna show you this today, of somebody in the Atlantic, and you will see the wave. It's impossible. Another thing I wanted to know, if they thought if this big old venture were bringing slaves over here to America, it sounds like it's a major business. Did they take 6 months off during hurricane season? What? Did they take 6 months off? Because 6 months during the year is hurricane season. The Atlantic is rough. These are the questions that we don't ask. We're trained like dogs. This is what it is. This is what you're going to do, and do it. When we don't fit to those terms or those whatever they're telling us, now we're labeled niggas, thugs, whatever. We are in captivity right now. This is black men don't run. Everything black men have to do, they have to do what? Ask the white man if it's okay. Own your own land. That's why we're slaves today. Now, I'm going to show it to you. And then all your questions, give them to me, but I'm going to ask some questions back. And when I ask the questions back, I don't want that Negro answer. Just like we communicating, everything we want to know should be at our fingertips. So I'm going to share some stuff with you right now. Some of the stuff you may have seen before, some of the stuff you may have not asked questions. But if this don't, my information, I get the 13 to 14-year-old get it. These are kids, they get it. What they bring back when they get this stuff blows me away. We gotta stop lying to our kids. We gotta stop. So let's get started. Since we down here in the South, I like to start. Martin Luther King is really big down here. And in 1963, Martin Luther King gave us I Have a Dream speech. I'm sure you've heard it, but I would suggest that you read the whole speech because I'm just going to take it from my point of view. I came from a place called Los Angeles. All they do is give us fluff to keep us stupid. If you ever go to Los Angeles, the Negroes, they're some of the biggest zombies you'll see in your life. All they're trying to do is give a camera. All they're trying to do is entertain. That's what we do, sing and dance. Martin Luther King gave a speech, I Have a Dream. In LA, when they played the speech, they only played the last verb, the last time. One day, black boys, black girls walking, holding hands, free at last, that's all we hear. The speech is 17 minutes. When you read the first part of the speech, this is what you get. And this is what I mean about us now. We're in 2015. This speech was over 50 years ago. If we have all this knowledge, if we have all this education, if we have all this spiritual fortitude, how come we miss stuff like this? This is what Martin Luther King said in his I Have a Dream speech. But 100 years later, the Negro still is not free. 100 years later, the life of the Negro is still sadly crippled by the manacles of segregation and the chains of discrimination. 100 years later, the Negro lives on a lonely island of poverty in the midst of a vast ocean of material prosperity. 100 years later, the Negro is still languished in the corners of American society and finds himself in exile in his own land. Now, what Martin Luther King is saying, and I'm going to show you how twisted we are. When he says 100 years later, because this was the civil rights era of 1963, but we also had another civil rights. There's another civil rights 100 years prior, 1863. It was called Reconstruction. So what had happened was, and there's an old saying, you hear Malcolm X say it sometime, if you don't know your history, you doomed to repeat it. So they had a civil rights era 100 years ago. This when brothers was in the Senate. See, a lot of people don't know black men were voting before white women. We've been helping in our own enslavement for a long time. But see, you get put in little positions to keep the rest of us out, and that's how a lot of us stay in our places. So you had a civil rights era 100 years before Martin Luther King. What happened? There was something called Black Friday where the stock market crashed. And if you look at those times and see how your folks was living, they was living large. Why? Because they were indigenous people. Most of them wasn't living in the cities then. They were living in places like this. That's why Tuskegee University is very important because of what that brought over there. I mean, Tuskegee University used to be the biggest brick manufacturer in the Southeast. How come we don't do that now, giving these little young brothers and sisters something to do? We're supposed to have been so far. They said Tuskegee University used to supply its own electricity. How come we're not taking that technology that was back then and upgrading it now when we're doing solar panels so our young people can have something to do? Why isn't the thought in our academia like that? Why aren't we talking about that in our churches so our children can have something to do? These are the questions you guys are going to have to ask. Now, I know a lot of times you guys get upset because you act like nobody understands where you're coming from. I understand. Because just like you, we'll show you what you do when you get into things and how you just transform this place into a multi-trillion-dollar industry. Because the people that take it from you, they're greedy. That's like me coming and emptying your pockets and then you behind me saying, give me my stuff back. That's the black man in America today. Begging other men to do what he can do. That's why it's important that we always hate each other. That's why it's important that we Christians and Muslims and Africans break them down on your own land. And I'm going to show you this is your study. There's not going to be no doubt about it. That was Martin Luther King. He's telling you right now, the Negro finds himself exiled in his own land. What does that mean? What does it mean? Now, they got Martin Luther King streets in every city. They have statues of him up everywhere. What does it mean when that man says the Negro finds himself in exile in his own land? It means that you didn't come over here on no ship. That's what that means. So that's Martin Luther King. Another cat that was very instrumental in your history was a cat named Frederick Douglass. Frederick Douglass came up with he had a speech called The Folly of Colonization. Can't find it right now. He came up with a speech called The Folly of Colonization. Back in the 1800s, they was trying to send a lot of us to Africa to clear us from the land. Frederick Douglass made a speech in Folly of Colonization, showing them how dumb that idea was, showing how much that would cost to do that, and why would you take the people from here and put them in a place in a foreign place? This is Frederick Douglass. The information's out there. Our problem is we just don't like information. We like to be entertained. We like to sing and dance. You heard of, what's the sister name who, we were talking about Selma earlier, the sister name who wouldn't get off the bus? Rosa Parks. Did you ever heard of a lady named Sojourner Truth? Her story was the same thing, but back in the 1800s, because she wouldn't do the same thing on a train. Sojourner Truth was told to get off of the train, go in the back of the train, or wherever the black people in that day, and she said, I'm not doing it. Same thing. History repeats itself. We just don't know it because we don't question. We don't tell the truth. We always playing and lying and confusing ourselves. Alex Haley. guys are young. When I was a kid, a TV show came out called Roots. This is how most of us, this is when the term, about 10 years later after Roots, the term African American came out. Roots was a story. This cat wrote this story. Let me tell you about Alex Haley. You guys familiar with a guy named Malcolm X? Alex Haley came on the scene. He did an autobiography on a brother named Malcolm X. Malcolm X was a thug brother who turned himself around and became an international figure. Beautiful orator, could speak to anybody. And he started to wake people up on the political implications of what were going on. He was kind of like the arch nemesis of Martin Luther King for a minute. But if you ever see a picture of Malcolm X and Martin Luther King shaking hands, that's when Martin Luther King started to change. And that's what we all got to do. We brothers, man. We should have asked the question, Alex Haley, why? There was a book that came out in the 60s called The Autobiography of Malcolm X. And an autobiography is a story about your life. When Alex Haley started writing that story, Malcolm X was like 35, 36 years old. What man writes a story about his life when he's 35 or 36 and he's not near the end of his life? Alex Haley was Navy intelligence. He was sent in there to break up the Nation of Islam. So, a few years later, he comes out with this story called Roots. Roots is about this man named Kunta Kinte that comes from Africa, and he builds his family and life over here. The only problem with that story is that it was plagiarized. Alex Haley stole that story from a man named Harold Porlander, who was writing about some Africans. He made the story up live, that show still comes on today. Every Christmas they play Roots. Back to back to back to back to back. Why? To disconnect you from your ancestral homeland. See, if you don't know who you are, when the foreigners come over here, you see all these Asians coming over, you see all these Arabs coming over to take all your money out of your community, that's supposed to be what you're doing. We're supposed to be trading with each other. Arabs don't buy from you. Asians don't purchase from you. Why do we take on those casinos that we're talking about? Why are we the ones still up in there giving the people our money? Where's your casinos? Huh? How come we don't have that stuff? How come brothers, you young men, how come brothers don't make cars? How come brothers don't have their own bus line? The Montgomery boycott should have showed you a whole bunch of stuff. How come we don't take what we learned from there and update it to today and make it better for ourselves? You're about to find out. Roots is a main story in the African American lexicon. Somebody comes tells us stories, we don't question it, we don't debate them, we just believe whatever they say. He was sued for $650,000 and had to publicly apologize in court. But what he did, he sent millions of us on this trip that we from Africa. Africans don't claim you. Africans don't claim you. When you see the story that they told you, when you see how dumb it is, you're gonna trip. Okay. What is an African American? Anybody? What's an African American? What's an African? What does the term African mean? Let's do it different. What does the term black mean? That's been in use longer than African American. What does the term black mean? We're trained much like dogs. We tell a dog to sit. Sit. The dog eventually learns that when you say sit, it means to sit down. If you tell the dog to come in and have a seat, he'll look at you like you're crazy because he's never heard that before. So we get these words and these terms that we use. We don't know what they mean. That's why when I said what does African mean? Nobody knew. That's how we're trained. Here's the term black. and check it out and see if this doesn't apply to us in this system that we live in. This is the etymology of the word black. So when you find the word, you want to find out who made the word up, what people invented that word, why did they invent it, what were they going through in their history when they invented it, what were they going through, and what did that word mean to them? Black. So it's an adjective. What's an adjective? Isn't an adjective something used to describe a thing? What's an adjective? So off the bat, you're not even a human with this word. You're a thing, property. That's how we're looked at.
Listen to him real closely, dissect that thing. Listen to him dissect that thing. Because that's what it is. That's what it is. Okay? Listen to him break this down. Because we need to understand what we are calling ourselves and what this really means.
In American society today. That's why foreigners can come over here and set up right in your community. They won't live with you. They'll come in and take all of your economic resources out of it. Why? Why? Are we dumb? We don't know how to set up our own stores. We don't know how to make our own weaves. We don't know how to do feet. Why are poor people coming from Asia? They coming from all over the world. They come right here to Tuskegee, Alabama. And they getting paid. You employ them. You can't employ yourself, but you employ foreigners. How do you employ foreigners? Because you go support their businesses. Do you support your own? No. You don't do that. Why is there more Mexican restaurants in the South than black restaurants? These are questions we should be asking. Our elders don't want to talk about it. When you bring it up to them, they will tell you to get out their face. Trust me. How come we don't have a chain of restaurants around here like Cracker Barrel? So when our children got to school or they're in high school, they can have something to do. These are the questions not only you're going to have to ask, but your kids going to have to ask. Because we cannot stay in the state that we're living now. We'll be dick. You won't have grandkids. The way we're going now, the word out is genocide. To kill you out. That's why these brothers out here getting shot and killed your ages. You really don't have a problem. We don't really have a problem with it. That's why it keeps going on and on and on. Why are our children doing the things that they do now? Why are you the target? So the definition of black is pale. The definition of black and bleach is the same word. All it does means to black you out. So with the term black came in when the Europeans came over and they saw the people here. And look at the word that they were using. Go read them books and stuff from the 16 and 17 and 1800s. They're talking about you. Black means just redact. Black them out. So then they blacked you out. And then they came up with names like Cherokee, Choctaw. These aren't the names that you were calling yourselves. These are the names that they start to name you so they can put you in a box so they can control you. You see at the fifth line up, black, bleak, and bleach are all radically one word. The primary sense seems to be pale, wan, or sour. It doesn't mean what we think it means. We think black power. Black power means bleached out power. It doesn't mean what we think it means. It's just a control mechanism used to control us. That's why the Black Panther Party was a failure from the beginning. The CIA set up from the jump. But we jumped behind it, and young men your age were wiped out. Still in jail today. And those people that led it, the Angela Davises, all of them have got professorships and book sales. One brother's even in the Congress in the United States, the brother from Chicago. It was the Black Panther Party was used to get in our communities and infiltrate them. And they did a wonderful job because we believed, we didn't know, we just believed certain things. So the term black, all the term black is used for is to erase you out, to make you think that you don't count. And when other people use it, it does that. But when we use it upon ourselves, because when I was in school, if you were called black, there was a fight. If somebody said your mama's black, there was a fight. Black was the term. Then, after roots came out, the term African became important. We started using this term African American. We'll get into that in a minute. What I want to do, I want to use an analogy. As we go through this, I want to use an analogy of a cheating spouse. You at home, your spouse come home smelling perfume or cologne, lipstick on his collar or her collar, however it rolls. What's the first thing that the spouse who's been at home does? What's the first thing they do? They begin to ask the other spouse questions. When the other spouse can't answer questions, that's when the spouse who's been cheated on knows that you're lying. And one of the things that we don't do, but we're going to do this today, I'm just going to ask you some simple questions. One of the things that we don't do, we don't question anything. Whatever they tell us, that's what we go with. And that's how we stay in the trouble we need, because we don't never do what's best for us. We always do what's best for other people. That's what an African American does. The African American never looks out for herself. An African American will look out for people from Thailand before they look out for themselves. And that's why there's no money circulating in our community, because all our money goes to other people, other foreigners. I'm going to show you some images. These are some images that I want you to see. These are images back in the day when these, when you go to read the newspapers back in the 17 and 1800s, these are the images that they were putting out back then. Now remember, they didn't have TV back then, so they did a lot of drawing. Tell me who these people are. This picture right here is very important. Pull this up sometime. This picture is called The Reconciliation Between Britannia and Her Daughter America. If you look at the picture, you'll see these are different European countries you see they're trying to pull at America. Different French, Dutch, Portuguese, French people over there. They're trying to pull at this woman who is America. Who is that? Who does that woman look like? She don't look like she can be your mama, your aunt, your grandma. Is she an African? Why is it saying the reconciliation between Britannia, that's the Queen of England, and that's America right there? What are those feathers in her hair? What do they symbolize? You're going to see a lot of feathers. You're going to see a lot of people who look like you with feathers. Who is that? And with all this education we got, how come this isn't taught to our daughters? Look at this woman. Just look at the image. When you look at the image, look this image up and read everything that you see here. Who is that? Look at her hips. Look at her hair. Who is that? That's the symbolization of America. Your mamas, your grandmamas. That's where you come from. That woman isn't an African. The reconciliation between Britannia and her daughter America. Why are white people so hell-bent on taking
So family, real quick, before I let Curry Washington continue to cook, let's go here. Now, we all know this is the online etymology dictionary. Now, Africa, Latin Africa. in quotes, in parentheses, terra, African land, Libya, the Carthaginian territory, the province of Africa, Africa as a continent, feminine of adjective Africus, from Afar, in African, a word of uncertain origin. The Latin word originally was used only in reference to the region around modern Tunisia. It gradually was extended to the whole continent. Derivation, from a Phoenician cognate of Arabic, afar, quote, dust, earth is tempting. The Middle English word was Afrique. African, 1580s, from Latin Africus, also sometimes used as a noun. Okay. So we got to understand what we're talking about here.
You got red skin head off the helmet, and you don't hear nothing from you. This brother right here look just like you.
Handsome.
That's a red. Your skin is not red. But this shirt is black. Have you ever seen somebody this color? Never. How come you don't hear our mouths on that? How come white folks, the white Indians, we're gonna get into them in a minute too. Why are they saying take the red skin head down? That's offensive. This is one of the most recognizable images in the world. When you start to go out of the country, and please do that, they're going to tell you you're Indians from America. When you go to Europe, they know who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you don't know who you are, other people know who you are. And all these foreigners coming over here, setting up on top of you, they know exactly who you are. They know. Hopefully you don't know, and we don't know. We don't care. So that's why, as young men, you're going to have to learn as much as you can. Do not try to be ignorant around here at this certain. And these are what's coming up in America now, especially after this cat Obama get out of office. You cannot afford to be a dummy. And I realize that with most of the brothers you see in front of you, you cannot afford to be dumb. Learn as much as you can. Learn about who you are. And the females. The bloodline goes through the females. I know we live in a Christian society where they say it comes through the male. Males don't give birth to children. Females do. That's one of the reasons that we lose too. We look at ourselves as no man passes through this planet without first coming through his mother.
Uh-oh.
These are things that should be pumped into our head.
Uh-oh.
We ought to disrespect our mothers. And when you do that, you know
Uh-oh.
that, right?
What OTK always say, you are what your mama is. Shout out to OTK.
All these foreigners can come take your stuff. Because if you disrespect their woman, guess what they're going to do to you? They're going to kill you. They don't play that. We just follow you on, dog our women out.
Mm-hmm.
And think you're going to have something. Well, yeah, you might, because your mama could have aborted you. It's tough for sisters in America. That's why a lot of sisters divide themselves today, because it's easier. They don't have to take care of no kids. They can just take care of themselves and get on with their life. But the females that have children, they're very special because they didn't have to do it, especially living in the conditions they're living in. Watching Redskin help. Who is that? That's you. We are so accustomed to being black, we can't even see ourselves in the images that they show us.
Let's go.
I want to blow this up because this is my favorite.
So anybody keep coming at y'all about that word black, man, that's in the trash. That's in the trash. And we're not going to continue to go around and identify ourselves as such. We're just not. Because now we are in the realm of understanding. We know now. We know our indigenous place. We know where we've been this entire time. We know.
I'll just share this with you. This piece right here is called Indian. Come on, y'all. This piece right here is called Indian Warrior Entering His Wigwam with a Scalp. Can you see that? I know it's probably not big. I'll give you one more. Here.
What's the name of it again?
Indian Warrior Entering His Wigwam with a Scalp. What are you doing? Who is that? That's an African. And again, we have nothing against Africans. They getting dogged out over there probably worse than we are here. But you have to ask a question, why are all of them fleeing over here? That's one thing about us. You don't never really see us going out and fleeing and living in other places. Why are all these immigrants coming over here? Why are Africans coming over here? If Africa's the major continent, if Africa's the richest continent on the planet, why are their sons and daughters fleeing, coming to Europe and coming to America? These are some of the questions you should be asking them when you talk to them and communicating with them. Why are they leaving their country? Why are they leaving where all mankind supposedly sprang from? Why are all the children running away? When you ask those questions, the answers they give you will let you know you're not African. None of us look like Africans. Indian warrior leaving his wigwam with a scalp. Who was that brother? Now, when I show these pictures, a lot of people be like, well, their hair doesn't look like, they'll go ahead and say the picture looks like it. They can agree with the picture, but they'll say the hair, their hair. Well, our hair isn't like that. Well, what is our hair? What is our hair is nappy. It's not nappy. Your hair is dry. Why is it dry? Because you don't live in your environment. You don't live in your habitat.
I've said that so many times. No, your hair is just dry and you should moisturize it. That's it. Like, your hair is not nappy at all. And we got to start predicating things like hair texture, skin color, all of these weird things to try to make yourself feel like there's no way you could be indigenous because of these features that are who you are. Your hair don't have to be long down your back to be an Indian. Your hair doesn't have to be super curly for you to be an Indian. None of that. All of that is cap. All of that is another way to make your ass feel like you are not who you're supposed to be. And a part of the reason why people feel like that too is because of the things that we see in today's television and K through 12 propaganda education, all of these things, right? We know, man, put some moisture on your head and see if that hair won't curl up. Come on now, we got to stop. We Madam CJ Walker giving us perms, all of these things that we've taken away from ourselves so we can call ourselves assimilating into a European culture or a European way of living that we weren't allowed to be as we are and who we are, family. That's why this word black is unacceptable. It's unacceptable.
Other people came in and built their habitats, and you went in there and went to fight around in their habitat. Where's your habitat? You can't feed yourself. You can't make your own clothes now. You used to make shoes. What you doing now? These are the industries that other people came and took from you. The cotton industry was an industry that your mothers created. White people didn't bring cotton over here. This was something that you created. Now you don't make socks now. Other people come in and sell you whatever you need because we've lost the ability to do for ourselves. And we love it. We brag how bad we are on making other people money. We brag that we work for the government.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oops. Oh shit. Damn it. My fault, y'all. I got pulled. Damn, I did not mean to do that. My bad, y'all. A lot of y'all do brag about working in the government, acting like you better than somebody because you work in the government. Stop what you doing. Give me a second, y'all, so I can pull it back up. Peace and love to the family. I see you out there, Cosmon Cow. I see you, Smoke Signal. I see you, Landy Hawk, Ray Davenport. I'm sorry, Roy Davenport. I see y'all, family. I see y'all out there, family. Give me a second. Let me pull this back up because it ain't got that long to go. Let me, I think we were at like the 40-minute mark. Let me pull it back up. My fault, y'all. I ain't mean to click it off. I got real excited. All right. Let me pull it back up for y'all, family. Because this man, like I said, if y'all know his contact information, let me know. Email something for this gentleman. I'd love to have him come on and talk and let him just cook. Shout out to his channel. I believe his channel was called Indigenous One. So y'all like, share, subscribe, and support Curry Davis and his platform. And I think he probably was one of the first ones to really bring this information out before a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to this brother. We got to stop. That's why I'm begging on this word black today. Because I'm not going to have another dispute with anyone else about this word. We don't got to keep, you know what I'm saying? Some people it's not worth, I ain't going to say they're not worth the discussion, because they are worth the discussion in a sense of trying to help them understand why this word is inappropriate and why it's incorrectly applied, right? So if from that context and from that perspective, yes, I feel like, we do need to be willing to teach our people. But some of our people, we ain't going to be able to teach. Some people are just going to be stuck in their ways, and they're going to be where they at. All right?
With the playground and their habitat. Where's your habitat? You can't feed yourself. You can't make your own clothes now. You used to make shoes. What you doing now? These are the industries that other people came and took from you. The cotton industry was an industry that your mothers created. White people didn't bring cotton over here. This was something that you created. Now you don't make socks now. Other people come in and sell you whatever you need because we've lost the ability to do for ourselves. And we love it. We brag how bad we are on making other people money. We brag that we work for the government. Where's your stuff? Where's your empire? How come we don't build boats? How come we don't build boats that we can put out there and fish on in these rivers and lakes? These thoughts don't even enter our minds. Why? Because we're black. You're not supposed to think. And since somebody tells you not to think, you don't think. That's what we are today. This is the African American in 2015.
And in 2025, it ain't changed at all.
Make weapons. Brothers don't make tires. What are we doing as a group?
Nothing.
Besides watching the game. And that's probably why a lot of people today the game is coming. I'm serious.
But he told their ass the truth, man. That I'm telling you. And we wonder why we're not getting anywhere. We wonder why. This man ain't told no lies at all. And a lot of us, man, the truth is hard to hear. A lot of us don't want to hear the truth. We don't want to hear the truth, but it's the truth.
This is a picture. One of the stories that are given to us, this is the slave trade. Check this out. They tell us that the Europeans came over here. Check this out. Spain and Portugal, the Pope told Spain and Portugal that you can go and conquer the world. And whatever you find, you split up and send the cash home. This is the story we're given about a slave trade. So Spain and Portugal go on this slave ship venture, and they're gonna go down to Africa, kidnap all the slaves, bring them across the Atlantic, and sell them to themselves over here. Okay. So I told you earlier what the guy in the Navy said about boats crossing to Atlantic. If you've ever been to Puerto Rico or down to the Caribbean, those waves aren't playing. It couldn't happen. So people were like, well, how did they get here? Have you ever heard of a place called Newfoundland? It's up in Nova Scotia, up by Canada. Newfoundland, New Amsterdam, New York, New Jersey, Nova Scotia, which is New Scotland. All they were doing, they didn't come across the Atlantic. That's a lie. Look at the northern part of any map, and this is the United Nations logo is the perfect. Here's America right here. Here's Europe right here. All they did was come across. If you ever seen that movie Titanic, how did the Titanic sink? Hit an iceberg. The further up north you have icebergs. If you ever see the picture of an iceberg, the iceberg is at the tip is like that, but at the bottom it can be big as this room. The ice at the bottom of the iceberg calms the waters down. So that's how they came up through the north, Canada, New York, that way. How do you know? Because York is a place in England. That was old York. They came over here and named something New York. Jersey is a place in England. They came over here and named it New Jersey. This is our New Jersey. Then as they start going down the coast, they start naming it after the Lords, Baltimore, Virginia. They start naming it after the people back at home. They didn't come across the Atlantic. That's a lie. They came across the north, and when you look in Canada, when you start piecing it together, you'll see. When you start looking in Canada, they start getting to Canada, then they start coming down what's known as the Mississippi River. That's why you see a lot of French people up in Canada. And you have to ask yourself, well, if France is south of England, how did they get up in Canada? They just came across the north here. Came across the north, where you don't have to have the story of the Nina Pinta Santa Maria. If you look at the story of how the first settlers came, they landed at Plymouth Rock. That's what they said. But when you start to look at the evidence and start looking at what they named things, then you'll get a better understanding of what's going on. Always look at how they name things. Because that's one thing that they do, they name things, and what did it have to do with you? And a lot of pictures that you'll see of the Indians, they look the same brothers up there in Boston, look just like you. Detroit got a brother named King Detroit. Most of the places here in America are named after you. When you start seeing names like Tallahassee, and Tuskegee, those are words that the indigenous people over here were using. Not all of these words that we use are English words. That's why they call it American English. Because when they got with the people over here, the language that the people they were using over here, that's a word you'll hear a lot of people, that's an indigenous term. A lot of terms that you hear over here what indigenous people use, and they just meshed it in with the lexicon over here. Are there any questions so far? Yes, sir.
Terry, go again about terminology and just the etymology. I know you might do that, especially about blacks and white young.
Yeah.
You know.
The words we use. Okay. What's a slang word that young people use? Nigga. What's a nigga? Okay. You use the word nigga. But you've heard it used. Why is it used? Why do we call each other nigga? But if I called your mama nigga, you ain't gonna have that. Why do we use that word? Because it's a word that used that means you ain't nothing. You're not even a person. Matter of fact, that's the last word a lot of brothers heard before they were killed. It's a word that other people shows their disrespect towards you. Then we take that word and think it's going to work for us, and it doesn't. You just cast a spell on yourself. That's all words are, spells. If I told you, brother, you a good brother, I love you, you would feel some kind of way. I love you, nigga. it was like I never said nothing. That's why we have to communicate with each other simple. I have to use no big words. This stuff is simple. This transatlantic slave trade, this is why the transatlantic slave trade didn't happen. This is something that's simple, and you can figure this out. You can figure this out for yourself. Now, this is in the Atlantic. This is a boat that's on the Atlantic Ocean. I'm gonna give you. This is how they say you got here. Check out these waves.
Yeah, I'm gonna show it better on my John. I'm gonna pull up one so y'all can see. Hold up, because I'm showing that video right here on YouTube. Hold up, family, because I'll pull that up for y'all so y'all can really get a good look at that. A good look at those waves on the Atlantic, bro. Talking about they crossed over there. They brought all of us over here from there, bro, with no factual proof. It's sick. It's sick. Peace to everybody in the chat. Hey, Young City. I think this is right here. Let me. Is those bullshit? Is that bullshit right there? Oh my God. Hold up. I'm trying to figure out. Yep, giant waves. Hold up, y'all. Let's see. Wait a damn minute. Yeah. So they about to tell y'all they brought us across there? They about to tell y'all that? All right. Let me go back to where we was at. That little boat barely holding on, child.
That was on a yacht. 2 or 3 people on the yacht. Now imagine that. A ship with 400 people on there, riding those waves, 400 men weighing, 150 pounds apiece? Riding them waves, crashing down. And this is how they were supposed to get down. Now follow the story, because this is going to crack you up. So these brothers are doing that. Check this out. I got to show you this picture, because this is how they said you came in. These are just other pictures of some of the indigenous people here. I have thousands of images. Matter of fact, I have so many images that I bet you $2 that you'll go through these images and find somebody who's just like somebody you know. You'll find somebody that looks like somebody you know or yourself, because I've done that before too. I share these images with people, and people put it right next to their face, and it's twins. You don't do that with Africans. Africans are a totally different people. They're totally different. Check this out. So you saw the wave. Right? Okay, check this out. So, this one. Let me share this word with you. Indigenous. This is a word you're going to have to learn how to do. Use. Indigenous. Anybody know what indigenous means without looking? American are the indigenous people of America. That's why you ever wonder why you always hear the story about China, Genghis Khan, the Great Wall of China. You hear the history of England and Europe. You hear the history of Africa and Egypt, but you never hear the history of America. Never! Before the Europeans come, you never ask that question. No, because we don't ask questions. We do what we're told to do. That's what an African American is. African Americans don't question anything. They do what they're told to do.
Man, shout out to that brother. And I want to show one more video of where it go. I just had it up. Okay, here it is. One more video of this Atlantic Ocean, because we gotta overstand, family. Look at that shit, man. Ain't no way. I don't think people comprehend the seriousness of this ocean. And it's an oil tanker that's being lifted up like that. And you about to tell me they had 400 niggas at the bottom of a boat chained together? Surviving something like this? Diabolical, nasty ass work. Diabolical. Now let's go here.
When I was growing up, to call a person of color like myself or others black was considered derogatory. That's just a fact. You know, you call somebody black, those were fighting words. Those were fighting words.
Period. Like, fighting words, literally. Now, real quick, before I open up the panel, I want to show one last thing. And then we're going to open up this panel for a discussion that's appropriate. Right? Because we need to have this discussion. We do. Because we find ourselves within this paradigm arguing over misnomers and terms that don't apply to us. We're arguing over this. And it's stopping our progression. So I had showed this on Supreme Chief's channel. I only want to show a little bit of it because it goes into some interesting history about so-called Black Americans in America. So I kind of just want to move up to Bill Cosby, really just talking about that. So let me.
You can go out and do anything. You could be King Charlie Brown. You could be king. Great. Very good. All right, we'll go to lunch now, and this afternoon we'll continue with our meeting.
No, I could never fit in that. Never get in that at all. This is more like it. Now, what's the whitest thing you know? Whiter than the driven snow, whiter than the whites of your eyes? Sugar. Non-integrated, non-black, sweet sugar. But you see, there is a black man in your sugar. His name is Norbert Rillier. Norbert Rillier in 1846 invented a vacuum pan that revolutionized the sugar refining industry. Now, you have to dig to find that fact. I mean, it's not much history, but it's still history. Now, what do you stand in? In your shoes. Now, there's just you and your shoes, isn't it? Nope. See, there's a black man standing in your Oxfords with you. Sharing your soul and your heel is a man, his name is Jan Ernst Metzelger. And in 1863, this is a drawing by the kids, Metzelger invented the machine that made mass-produced shoes possible. Now, you have to dig around for that fact, too. And again, it's not much history, but it's history. Am I coming in clear to California? I mean, is this TV signal driving through a pass in the Sierra Nevada mountains and slipping into San Francisco? Okay, well, I want to thank you, Jim Beckworth. Jim Beckworth out of St. Louis, hunter, trapper, and honorary chief of the Crow tribe of Indians.
Uh-oh.
Trouble finding you, Jim. Though you helped open the West, you didn't make the books. Chicago, right here, where the Wrigley building is. Young fellow by the name of Jean-Baptiste de Sable. Jean Baptiste, he founded you, Chicago, when he traded with the Indians. And of course, there it is right there at that particular time. It was called.
But see, I like what he did at the beginning of this. I'm not going to show the rest of it because he pissed me off afterwards. Because they always got to go into that fake African history. But the beginning here, he killed it. Like, he stayed in America with us and what that means. You know, now, I'm not sure about the legitimacy of him trading, of John Baptiste trading with the Indians per se. But, you know, this came out in like, I think this came out in like 69 or 68, something like that. So this is a relatively old, you know, as you can see, Bill Cosby is looking very young and handsome here. So this is obviously very old.
Chicago, or Stinking Onion, by the Indians. Here, where the Wrigley building is. Young fellow by the name of Jean-Baptiste de Sable. Jean Baptiste, he founded you, Chicago, when he traded with the Indians. And of course, there it is right there at that particular time. It was called Chicago, or Stinking Onion, by the Indians. And de Sable, he didn't even change the name at all. Now you take the Lewis and Clark expedition here, right in there. You'll find a black man named York helping to open the West. Those men are trying to wash the black out of York. That's what you might call historically significant, because a lot of people think we ought to wash white, but we ain't gonna, you see. Texas, coming to you, Texas, right down the Chisholm Trail, right here. Right down there with 5,000 black cowboys who never made it to the Hollywood Western. Did you know that? Huh? In the same group, there was one black outlaw. His name was Deadwood Dick, who claimed his soul brothers were Bat Masterson, Billy the Kid, and Jesse James. Deadwood Dick used to ride into the saloon, order 2 drinks, one for himself and one for his horse. And here's his horse, drinking a shot of red eye with a straw. And how about the 186,000 blacks who fought on the Union side during the Civil War? 38,000 died. How about Teddy Roosevelt's charge up San Juan Hill? It wasn't just the Rough Riders who made it. 4 black regiments went right up with Teddy. They didn't get lost going up the hill. They got lost in the history books. How about the North Pole? Snow White? Well, the first man there was black, Matthew Henson. He spoke Eskimo. And he was Admiral Perry's navigator. And although he made it first to the pole, it never quite made it to the history books. And how about your heart? Can we get there? All right. Daniel Hale Williams first performed open heart surgery successfully. But this list could go on forever. Blacks who made it, blacks who made history. But
Yeah, see, that's the only thing. But I kind of wanted y'all to see that, because that I was like, damn.
Who didn't get into the history text at all. And the strange thing is how little there is about us in the textbooks. Napoleon once said history is a fable agreed upon, and the fable agreed upon up to now is that American history is white on white. But sometimes we did get into the history books. All wrong. Now you take this one. The Growth of the American Republic, 1942 edition. Samuel Eliot Morrison, Henry Steele Commager. Quote as for. This has to do with slavery.
All right, we ain't gonna go there. So I just wanted y'all to see a little bit of that, because, you know, I think that we oftentimes we forget, you know what I mean? We forget. And I was gonna say, Carbon Aborigines, if you have the link, I would say drop it. But if not, I'm gonna drop my link for anyone who may want to join the panel. And I love what Bill did there in the beginning of that before he went into slavery and all that, because our history doesn't start at slavery, family. It just doesn't. We have our amazing people, and like I said, Black, we're dispelling that. But like I said, that documentary came out in like 68 or something like that, or 69, one of those times. So, you know, they were obviously using that word very heavy, but that does not describe who we are. But I wanted you guys to take away that history that is so important, that we forget how much of the fabric of this nation we are a part of. Not only are we a part of it, we created it, we built it, and we built it, child. We built it and we cultivated it. Bottom line. And that's what we forget. And that's what we oftentimes miss. Not all of us, but some of us do miss it. So shout out to everybody that's been making it in. Thank you for all the viewers. I appreciate you guys listening. Yeah, I'll look for it then. And then I'm going to go ahead and play a tune real quick.
Father Ray, Reed Youngin. Come on, man. Fuck a Pan-African, fuck a Pan-African, fuck a Pan-African, fuck a Pan-African. Hey, the niggas trash like some ooh. Try to get back to them slave hoes. Hey, hey, hey. Try to get back to them slave hoes. Hey, hey. Fucking slave narrative, they phone it. I had this nigga named Toby and he owed me. When the plot crop and the stock drop on top, them niggas going. Sold to the bitter cotton pickers, them my niggas. I'ma come down, feed them chitlins and them gizzards. Nigga, I'm the mister, I whip ya, I kill you. In the big house, go down with your sister. Send it back to you, then I send for your mother. Y'all niggas look out, I'ma work it like no other. Make you pick cotton till the sun come and touch it. Till your damn hands and feet and foot all bust up. Look me in my eyes, I'ma backhand the buck up. Nah. Shout out to Grandma Foo. Why your man came, she the one that sold you. My crew swam to the show and got you. Good shit, Jesus, man, that nigga came through. Hey, fuck a Pan-African, fuck a Pan-African, fuck a Pan-African, fuck a Pan-African. Hey, them niggas trash like some ooh. Tryna get back to them slave hoes. Hey, tryna get back to them slave hoes. Fuck off it, fuck Lennon, fuck Jeffries, ayy. Fuck off it, fuck Ben, fuck Jeffries, ayy. Fuck off it, fuck Lennon, fuck Jeffries, ayy. Ayy.
Shout out to Baby Yoto.
Play with this shit, dude. Beginning. Baby Yoto, peace, cheat, acrobatic. Fuck a Pan-African, fuck a Pan-African, fuck a Pan-African.
So real quick before I open up the panel, I mean, I've got the link in the chat. So, you know, hit the link if you guys want to come up and discuss something or talk about the topic at hand. But first, I had saw an interesting video from the African Diaspora channel. You know what I'm saying? But it's interesting though. It says IRS tax preparer leaks Turk-Armenian migrants get 100K reparation tax write-offs. So I thought this was interesting, family. So let's listen to this real quick.
My name is Vicky Dillon for African Diaspora in this channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. Family, make sure as you come in, give us a big thumbs up, years coverage, thumbs up, and share the broadcast. That way notifications are generated out for others. Yes, thank you so very much, family. You all know I have been doing for the past few years coverage on Ukraine, mostly in the news lately because of their proxy war they've been engaged in with Russia over the past 3 years or so. So I've certainly been giving them that everlasting work, as I call it. Yes. Well, family, in the recent years, the past recent couple of years, I've really been going in on the extraordinary amount of money and resources that we have been given to Ukraine, and been talking about the fact that our government, our country, I didn't believe was being truthful or forthcoming with the actual investment that she was making in that country. Yes. Well, one of the different aspects that I talk about with Ukraine is not only what they have done abroad, the money that we're spending abroad. Yes. Watch this. But the resources that we're giving them right here in these United States of America. Now, my last coverage, many of you watched it. And of course, like I said, I did a similar broadcast on that some time back, a couple of times, and I see other folks are starting to pick it up in other platforms. Well, I want you all to know that during that process, and this is why it's so important when I'm talking about international issues, because it affects us one way or another, whether you like it or lump it, understand it or not. We need to be discussing these things. Yes, in the process of me discussing that, one of you all came forward with this information. Are y'all listening? And I received all kind of comments as a supplement to what I was saying. But I want you all to listen to what I was told by one supporter, one viewer online, which she specifically says, and this is in reference to my Ukraine coverage. Watch this. She's saying, yes, and now I do tax returns this year. I noticed many foreign immigrants and Native Americans are getting major tax attention, and many don't have to release foreign income statements to our government. So many are double dipping in resources from the United States and their countries, not to mention Armenians in America receiving reparation payments from the United States with special tax instructions. This is why we need our checks and why our wealth gap is getting worse. Family, I like to scream and holler, but you all know I'm going to verify and confirm as much as I can before I just jump to conclusions, right? Well, for context, I went back, found several articles, including one, are y'all ready for this? From the New York Times from 2025 that says Armenian groups are increasingly focused on reparations for genocide. That's a very lengthy article, but just so you have a little bit of context, it talks about the fact, it gives obviously a lot of background on how the conversation of reparations are happening in the first place. But I want you all to see that this is something that your major papers that come out of America for many years has been talking about. Not only that, I found one from LA Times and a few other places. Watch this. It's talking about the fact that behind the Turkish government's denials of the century-old Armenian genocide lurks the possibility that survivors and their descendants could be deemed legally entitled someday to financial reparations, perhaps worth tens of billions of dollars or more. Now, when I read further on down, because it's a long article, they're in the trillions with the T. Now, I'm going to try to calm down. I got on red. Now, y'all might need to put some fire extinguishers in the chat. Y'all might need to put some ambulance emojis in the chat. Y'all might need to put some water in the chat because I'm going to need it. I'm trying to keep my voice down and stop while I'm doing this broadcast.
Funny.
It goes on to talk about how activists have pressed smaller scale lawsuits against the Turkish and other defendants in Turkey and elsewhere, right? It goes on talking about some of the folks that said that they were victims of that and their efforts, and those here in the United States that are fighting for that and around the world, right? Now, this is Kim Kardashian's people, just for the record. My understanding is that's her background, her people. Let's be clear. Now, we know Turkey is playing a big role right now because some folks are accusing it of trying to, revitalize and become the old Ottoman Empire all over again. And Erdogan is doing all kind of stuff. I did a broadcast on him because he's sitting there trying to negotiate peace between Ethiopia and Somalia and all that. And I don't know, child. He's doing too much, I think, and doing some stuff in BRICS. And then he's on one hand, he's America's friends. Next minute, it's just doing too much. He played with Israel and them sometimes, and he plays with the United States or the West. So there's a lot of suspicious stuff going on over there. Yes, there's some suspicious stuff and some decent stuff, but we're going to keep our eye on Turkey and them, right? Just know it involves that, right? Now, I don't have time to get into the details of this, and I'm trying to get to where I'm going quickly. So, family, I said, this cannot be real. I just kept saying it over and over. This can't be real. This can't be real. I found that article. Guess what? I found another article. Another article. Watch this. Then I found from Bright Tax. Y'all watching this? Listen. This is talking about taxes. Quote, if you pay income tax in Armenia, there are several exemptions that allow you to pay less or no U.S. income tax on the same income to the IRS. The main exemptions are the foreign earned income exclusion, Pay attention to that title. You can research it. What is it called? The main exemptions are the foreign earned income exclusion, which lets you exclude the first 100,000 US dollars of foreign earned income from US tax if you can prove that you are an Armenian resident, and the foreign tax credit, which gives you $1 tax credit for every dollar of tax you paid in America. Vicky, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for that. I'm sorry for that outburst. I'm sorry for that outburst right there. Vicky, you see the twitching in my eyes, family? Do you see the twitching in my eyes?
Yeah, this is outrageous.
Hello, I'm Martin
You know y'all want to
and
show
I
a
had the
damn
honor of
commercial.
playing the President of the United States on TV.
All right.
Now, if you go to the IRS website, yes, IRS website, it's not. Even if we don't understand the details, talk to your tax people and stuff. That's why I give you all these articles so that there's references and stuff. Under the IRS tax, on the IRS website, excuse me. Under the IRS website, this section is called Armenia Tax Treaty Documents. If you pull that up, it says that it will give you the complete text of the following tax treaty documents are available on Adobe PDF format. If you have problems, I just want y'all to know this is real on how they want you to file it and stuff, even down to the format. Armenia says this, I'm still reading from the IRS, is one of the former Soviet republics, which are now covered by the treaty with the Commonwealth of Independent States known as CIS, formerly known as the Union of Soviet and Social Republics. When you click it, family, you're going to find a very, very, very lengthy document to the tune of at least 16 pages. The hell is going on?
She better go off.
Don't you know that Republicans and Democrats are aware of this? These are your lawmakers that lets them have these little secret tangibles, financial tangibles. Now, when black folks say give us tax write-offs, when y'all sit here and play games, talking about we can't cut the checks officially like this, we can't do that, we can't do that. And the moment we say, okay, well, let's do this, let's give us tax write-offs, let's do this. Y'all over here giving Armenia and them stuff. The hell is Kim Kardashian stuff got to do with this? No wonder Foundation of Black Americans was commenting so crazy on my other and messaging me about this stuff. Black family, I cannot wait to do my next Black Town Hall. Y'all know I did my first one in a Black restaurant in Chicago, and I plan on doing some more. We're going to talk about this. We are not playing with this government. Y'all are playing in our face while you sit here giving tax write-offs. And shout out to our brothers and sisters that work behind enemy lines and snitch it. This is the kind of snitch that we need. We need y'all to start sounding the alarms when you're in these powerful places to let us know what this government is really doing. Every time the Democrats twitch their lips and tell us what they can't do for us, every time the Republicans play dumb games and they sit here smiling in our face and doing all this stuff, we're not playing with y'all. My name is Vicky Dilla, beloved. Be sure to follow me and my website, my page. Go to my website and stuff. I can't even get my words together and stuff. Check out my school, my products and stuff.
All right, y'all. So I just wanted y'all to see that because it's a lot going on, y'all. It's a lot going on that is going on up under our nose. They paying these folks. They paying these people, man. And then they keep telling you all the reasons why they can't pay you. So I'm gonna do this one last thing I'm gonna do. I need to share the Good Sisters declaration as well. But I'm gonna play this declaration.
The First Americans' Declaration of Reclamation of Our Identity and Natural Rights. This declaration, dated the accepted and amended July 4th, 2019, is in response to the intrusion, genocide, gentrification, indoctrination, and reclassification of the over 100 million strong original peoples of North, Central, South America, and adjoining islands over a period of 4 or more centuries. The American Aboriginal peoples described in this declaration are hereby declared the free peoples of the so-called Western Hemisphere and the Americas, meaning clear of obstruction, unrestrained in movement, liberty of action or expression, not holding strictly to rule or form of nations, not subject to foreign rule or to despotism, based on principles of civil liberty, sense of giving without cost and free of charge and cost. This declaration does not include the so-called Native Americans, Africans, European, Hindu European, or Asian descendants, only the American Aborigines and mistakenly the American Negro and their descendants. Article 1. All so-called Black people in the Americas are not descendants of Africa, and this misclassification of our identity, i.e. colored, Negro, Black, and African American, is the result of social programming and indoctrination, and is not and will not be accepted by the autonomous people in any manner, whether it be personally, socially, politically, or so-called legally. And any attempt to continue such reckless behavior will be seen as a conspiracy to commit a fraud, a hate crime, and defamation against the original peoples of the Western Hemisphere under international law and the American Constitution. The U.S. corporation, its nation states, affiliates, and sponsors have been committing many sorts of crimes against the original or Aborigine people of this land without as much as one warning for the genocide, rape, lynching, displacement, and scientific experiments. There are many documented cases. The list of nefarious and criminal activity is almost too long to imagine, and there must be an accounting and remedy for. By our estimates, the greatest majority of so-called white African and European descendants in the U.S. believe that the original or Aborigine people misclassified as Black were all brought here on slave ships by their ancestors, not realizing that we were here long before their ancestors existed. And the only reason that they believe the lie is because of the great effort to cover up factual history. Article 2. There are millions of acres of land held in trust by the governing bodies of the Americas that are the birthright of the original or Aborigine people of the land, and we demand that such land be returned in good faith and without obstruction, harassment, or oversight. Since the original or Aborigine people have been systematically removed and gentrified from our lands by fraudulent practices and intimidation, we feel it would be in the best interest of all involved to give back our land and allow us to live in peace. No exceptions. Article 3. We, as the original or Aborigine peoples of the commonly known as the Western Hemisphere, including but not limited to the Americas and surrounding islands being of sound mind, body, and spirit, reserve all rights to self-govern to the best of our ability without the need for regulation, obstruction, oversight, or harassment from the governing bodies. We will operate as a responsible, autonomous nation, and all treaties, trade agreements, tariffs, etc., thereof on our land must be approved by us alone. No exceptions. Article 4. We, as the original and Aborigine peoples of what is commonly known as the Western Hemisphere, reserve all rights to travel anywhere and any time of our choosing within the Western Hemisphere without obstruction, harassment, corporate identification, or citizenship of any state-sponsored territories. No exceptions. Article 5. We, as the original and Aborigine peoples, have been subject to what is commonly known as paper genocide or paper terrorism by the U.S. state, local governing bodies, and their affiliate Masonic partners' orders, i.e. policy writers, enforcers, and other corrupt actors. We will no longer accept your aggressive and, in most cases, detrimental paper, computer rulership in all of its forms. We are the original free peoples of the land, aka the first Americans. We are not and will not be your citizens nor property in any form. Assaulting and attacking our people on an individual or group basis by anyone, including your citizens, your policy enforcers, or any of your corporate partners or affiliates will be considered a hate crime and will be dealt with as such. No exceptions. Article 6. All Aborigine, man, woman, or child have a natural right to protect themselves in any circumstances, and any attempt to deny this right will be dealt with in the most severe manner possible unless deemed otherwise by the appropriate counsel. No exceptions. Article 7. No Aborigine man, woman, or child will be enumerated, taxed, or brought into any other judicial or administrative body other than an Aboriginal council. No exceptions. Article 8. No Aborigine man, woman, or child are part of any so-called sovereign citizen or extremist group or movement of any kind, and any attempt by any individual, group, organization, or governmental agency to connect us to any will be considered a hate crime and defamation. No exceptions. Article 9. All Aborigine men, women, and children are free, born living beings and cannot be considered, identified, or treated as property or dead by the U.S. government or any other entities anywhere on land, air, or body of water. No exceptions. Article 10. No Aborigine men, women, and children can be used as debt or collateral by the U.S. government or any other entities anywhere on any land, air, or body of water. No exceptions. Article 11. We, as the original and Aborigine peoples of the so-called Americas, retain all rights to any and all resources that we deem necessary to sustain life, liberty, and the development of our people in any and all regards without obstruction, harassment, or oversight by any entity other than an Aboriginal council. No exceptions.
Given the risks.
The original, Botox.
Peace, peace. Can y'all hear me? Peace, peace. Can y'all hear me, family? My bad. My microphone had went out for a second. But anyway, that is the declaration. Shout out to Libra Sun. Shout out to Supreme Chief Holiday. You know what I'm saying? Like, they put that together. I know those words, they put it together. So shout out to them. Since I didn't have anyone hit the panel, I mean, I guess I'm gonna go ahead and close it out right here, since no one wanted to come up. But yeah, I can put the link. I could put the link for, let me put that in the chat for y'all real quick. For those of y'all who may want to go and repeat that, listen to that, and get that in your system, get that in your bones, okay? And there's also some other things too. You guys can check out the video, the interview, or just the conversation that I did my last one-on-one Friday with Clan Mother Mama Carly. You guys might get something from that. So, I'm trying to give some people a chance, but I guess nobody wants to come up. I guess y'all scared today. So anyway, that's the link in the chat, family. You guys can highlight that link to the declaration. And I believe Sister Cheryl has one as well. I heard that I know that she recently transitioned. So, she also has her version of it as well. that I know that they want me to get up and get the plan as well. And I will get that plan eventually. So just shout out to everybody that was able to come in. This was a cool hour and 40 minutes. I ain't going nowhere. I mean, I'd rather not go nowhere, you know, but I didn't get anybody to hit the panel. So I figured at the end of the declaration, if nobody hit the panel, then, you know, it is what it is. And I ain't going to force nobody. But I hope you all enjoyed the show. I hope y'all enjoyed the show. I hope y'all enjoyed what was brought to the table today. You know, I didn't want to do too much, you know, but I know like a lot of the discussion around being Black, misnomers, etc., is the real issue in this community and in this environment, rather. And, you know, we got to do better. Like now y'all understand why this Black term is not appropriate all across the board. And now we don't got to keep defending why we don't want to be looked at as the color of absence, if you will. We don't have to subscribe to that. There is one more thing that I want to show. Let me see if I can find it first, and then I'm going to go ahead and close out. Shout out to the 54 people who came in the chat, who came into the space today. It really means a lot to me on a Sunday, especially. I think he did a podcast, this gentleman. I'm looking for what he specifically said. Yeah. What character in the Marvel universe is Anthony Mackie? He's Captain America now, right? In the Marvel universe. Because I am looking for a certain comment, because I'm not gonna play that whole thing. Because yeah. Okay. Let me see if I could find like a little small clip. And that's interesting that he's going to be Captain America now. That's just very interesting to me, for sure. And it makes sense. It makes sense. I love that for him. Hold up, y'all. Let me see if I can find what he said. Dang, what did I do with it, y'all? No, that's not it. Okay, here we go. It looked like somebody was... Let me see. Okay. One last comment right here, and then I think I'm going to go ahead and let it be that. Since I wasn't able to, since nobody feel like talking today.
Says we are lying to our kids. Success is given, not earned. Here it is.
I've been in the business 24 years, right? And I've seen people go from nothing to the biggest stars in the world. I've seen people go from one role to winning Academy Awards and doing all this. And what I realized yesterday thinking about it, we're lying to our kids, dog. And I think that's a big problem in our community. We tell our kids that and this is fresh on my heart. Like I literally just came to this conclusion last night. We tell our kids if they do right and they make the good grades and they go to the programs and they will become successful. If you work hard enough, your work will be paid off. And that's not true. Success is given. It's not earned. Because you can be the most brilliant. If one person don't tap you, each one of y'all. There were people who could hit harder, who could catch better, who could run faster. But somebody said, you're the one. And the other 50 behind you fell off.
Put it up full mass. Let us discuss. Captain America star Anthony Mackie went on the Pivot podcast this week.
So let me find that. Let me find the actual podcast. Let's do that. Give me a second, y'all. Pivot podcast. Shout out to those brothers over there.
You found a place of complete focus. You ordered.
Yeah. I count pockets. Yeah. You better believe it. My mom was like, yo, dumbass, why you didn't take the bus? I was like, I didn't know how they are. Like, you think Wendell Pierce, Wynton Marsalis, really, the next year he left and became one of the biggest musicians in the world. So it's like, there's so much culture and art in this city. Like always, like, because it was just like knowing him. Like, this dude is the best jazz. When we were kids, you had Schwarzenegger, Stallone, Tom Cruise, Denzel, Morgan Freeman. You had Wesley Snipes. Yeah. Pacino, De Niro. I mean, you can name, and I'm not even talking about the women. You can name 50 dudes who were making $10 to $20 million a movie. Now, who's our De Niro? You Captain America. You are Captain America.
How much of that do you think social media influenced?
I think, great question. I think social media is a big part of it, but also I think a big part of it is just pay.
Okay.
Like, there's nobody out there like busting up making $10 million a movie. Like, it's just not happening anymore. But ticket prices are going up.
Right.
It's $25 to go to the movies. Yep. Whereas when we were young, it was $8. They were making $20 million a movie. Now we're making $5 to $7. So there's a huge disparity. Where's that extra money going? Mm-hmm. So it's really interesting when you look at it. If you don't make huge stars, you can pay them less. So that's why every 2 years you have some 21 to 25-year-old white boy pop up, and he has a 5-year run. Next thing you know, he's in a State Farm commercial, and that's it. Then he does a movie with Anne Hathaway, and that's it. And then they get a new one. You know what I mean? Like with black dudes, it's the exact same thing. In 25 years, I've seen the gauntlet, and I'm the only one still here. When I came in the game, it was Mekhi Phifer, Omar Epps, Mos Def. Those were the big dogs, right? Then it went to Mos Def, Derek Luke, Rob Brown, then throw in your random rapper. Then it went to Michael B. Jordan, Jonathan Majors, Damson Idris. I've seen 3 generations come and go. And that's what's scary about it. You see the motherfuckers come and get hot, and then all of a sudden, poof. And it's like, yo, you have no staying power. You have no, because you're not diversifying your portfolio. If all you're investing in is Walmart and Walmart has a bad week, you're fucked. So you got to be able to do all the other shit. And that's what I always tell young actors. The question is whether you want to be a working actor or a celebrity. If you want to be a celebrity, go to LA and be a fucking celebrity. Date a Kardashian, have a great time. You know what I'm saying? Right. But if you want...
It's a specific...
Oh, young. Here go my number. Anything you need, call me.
It's a
like, oh,
comment.
I took a drive past. Isn't something that's become an oddity or an idea of something I shouldn't or can't do. But somebody said, you.
Okay, here we go.
You're the one. And the other 50 behind you fell off. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And because of that, I don't know what that emotion or that feeling is the scary thing. Because I went to all the programs. I've done Broadway. I've done off-Broadway. I've been in the business 24 years. I've been in 2 Academy Award films. I've done independent films. I've done major motion pictures. Now I'm Captain America. So now what? I should be the lead of the next Spike Lee movie. So I should be starring opposite Denzel. Because that's what happened with everybody else.
So to that thought process, why are you the one? It's the craziest thing, man. He brought up Tupac. I don't think you did a great job of being Tupac.
That's fair.
I tell you, because you were younger. It was years ago.
That's fair.
So why are you the one, even speaking on that, why are you the one that, I don't know, chosen to be that dude? But, bro, you that dude.
Diligence. Prime example, when I went up to New York to audition for Juilliard, it was the consortium audition. So it was like 100 schools in New York just auditioning kids who want to go to school for theater. They told you prepare 2 monologues, a contemporary or classical.
There's a specific comment. I'm looking for something specific that he said. about the masculinity of black men being destroyed.
I can't. Junior say I was one for me.
Yeah.
You remember Junior?
Dog, yeah.
I
Same
played
here,
with Junior, and I watched him my rookie year. I watched Junior play linebacker, and I told my coach, I was like, I'll never be as good as that. I was like, he just does things I can't do.
Fair.
Like, who's them dudes that you just look at like, oh.
Denzel, I mean, he's the GOAT. He's the GOAT.
Yeah.
And he fucked it up for everybody. That's why you have so many bad actors, is because of Denzel. Because he makes it look so easy. Motherfuckers watch it and be like, oh, I can do that. No, you can't. He's just that good.
Yeah.
He's that good that it looks effortless. So when Deion Sanders comes out and blazes down the field, that don't mean you can run that. You can work your entire life. You can eat right. You can get a trainer. You can do jump squats out your ass. You will never be able to compete. So I did a movie, Outside the Wire, on Netflix, my first Netflix joint.
Wait,
in a different form.
I want to go back to the lie to your children, right? You're a father of 4.
Here we go.
I've also heard you say to your kids, they don't really give a damn about what you do. Like my kids, they care less that I play ball. They did not give a at all. But for you, how do you balance being a father with everything Hollywood, and what messages from your upbringing do you impart with them as they grow?
It's funny. I was pretty sure up until Captain America, my kids like had no idea what I did. Like, we're literally sitting there. We go see Sonic the Hedgehog, and I didn't know they were playing the Cap trailer before Sonic. So we sitting there, and I got all the shit, dude. I got popcorn, gummy worms. I got just they had to bring out a tray for all my shit, right? So I'm talking to my son, hooking up his candy. I hear my voice. Like, oh shit. Oh shit. So I'm looking at my kids like, so I don't say nothing. My oldest son's on his phone. My second son's knee deep in these fucking gummy worms, right? The 2 little ones are fighting and throwing popcorn at each other. So I'm like, bruh, look at the fucking screen. So everybody behind us go, oh my God, are you okay? Oh, they missed the whole trailer. Whole trailer. Like, what's wrong with you, Dad? Fuck it. But with Captain America is interesting because I try to keep my boys outside of it. Like, I don't want my boys affected by it or even acknowledge the idea of what Hollywood is and what it means to the general populace. Because I want them to find their own path. And we're blessed. Like, we're put in a position where we can afford our kids the best. You know, we're in a position where our grandkids, our great-grandkids will be provided for. You know, we weren't like that. You know, I know on the West Bank, you wasn't like that.
No doubt.
Yeah, y'all ate, Vienna sausages and poking beans, you know?
I did, though.
That's what I'm saying. But that's
up.
real.
Yeah.
That's where we came from. I keep my boys humble. Like, my boys have never had a pair of Jordans. My boys don't do all that internet fly shit. I'm like, your kids. And no, I don't give a fuck. I could be the biggest star in the world. Do not let me catch you being stupid. Do not. And my oldest gets it. My 15-year-old, he tells the other ones, he's like, yo, don't make Dad mad. Because once you get one that's right, he's going to straighten the other ones out. So it's just that thing of, in the past 20 years, we've been living through the death of the American male. They have literally killed masculinity in our homes and our communities for one reason or another. But I raised my boys to be young men. And however you feel about that, you feel about that. But my boys will always be respectful. They will always say, yes, sir, yes, ma'am. No, sir, no, ma'am. They will always say thank you. They will always open a door for a lady. They will always make sure that their mother is taken care and provided for. They will always be men. And that's always since they were 2 years old. Every time I left for a job, I tell my 15-year-old, you're the man of the house. You make sure these doors are locked every night. This alarm is on. You text me or you call me every night before you go to bed and you wake up.
I love that.
Because we're men. If I'm not there to protect, he got to be there to protect. Because you can have all the money in the world, motherfucker climb through the window, that money means nothing. You can have all the celebrity in the world, motherfucker jump through the door, that celebrity means nothing. So you got to have a little guard in there, And so for me, it's always that idea of American masculinity is very different. You feel it when you go to Europe. Like, you see these.
Build Building your online business?
And I like his word choice when he said the American male. I love his word choice. His word choice is very, very specific. It's very, very clear.
Go to Wix.com and set up.
You like, could bust your ass, boy. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? You go to Europe,
Tight
and
ass pants.
yeah, tight ass pants. Motherfucker, went good, boy. You better lotion your ankle. Like you feel it when you go to Europe. Even when you like, I was just in Kenya and I was walking around. I'm like, yeah. Dude was like, you ain't from here. Like, nah.
Look.
Like, yeah, I could tell. I know you can't. I could tell I ain't from here. You know what I mean? It's just that American male masculinity is something I think is very important for boys. Because now our little boys are afraid to fail, so they don't try. You know what I mean? When we were kids, we did tackle drills. We would run face first into each other.
We just talked about it. Dudes don't even talk to a woman face to face.
They don't know how no more because, women they are so mean and so angry, bruh. I saw this. My nephew was talking to this girl. Oh my God, dude, she just killed him. I mean, he was like, "Excuse me, how you doing?" She goes, "Ugh." How do you come back from that? He just walked over to me. I gave him his beer. I was like, there you go, bro. That didn't happen. Let's start over.
You said Betty White shot at you, and you flinched. You ain't doing that.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I really wanted. Like, I really wanted people to hear that in context and what he was actually saying when he said the American male. He didn't say the black male. He said American male. When he went to Kenya, oh, you ain't from here. I know I'm not from here. We gotta pay attention. What he said was important. What Brother Mackie said was important there. And I don't know, I feel like I want to play it again, but that was a really good thing that he said. And I think that, we don't, oh God, we are too entrenched or intertwined with this social media, or a lot of times we forget who we are. And he really made some awesome points. And I think that people really missed it. He ain't say the nigga. He ain't say the black male. The American male. Okay? So I just want y'all to always be mindful. Like, people out here know that truth. And I think he was indirectly speaking that truth. He's rightfully Captain America. Rightfully so. Okay? We got to remember who the fuck we are. This our land. They ain't scoop us off no shores of nowhere. We been here. And we're not tolerating being called any more derogatory names or anything like that anymore. Because now we've risen above at this point. We understand the truth. And now we have to take that truth to a different level, family. That's all I want for us. Social media is cool. YouTube is cool. All of that is cool. But we have to get to a point where we know that the information that we have needs to be taken on a higher level, on a higher scale, right? I don't like to see us in these types of positions. These positions we in is wrong, and it's not how it's supposed to be. And we have to change our mindset. We have to change the way we think. I love the way that he's raising his kids. Young men at that. Our future. Our young men have to learn how and know how to protect. They have to know how to be gentlemen. They have to know how to use their talents to their advantage. Women too. Yeah, I can't wait to see his Captain America movie, and I can't wait to support it, because I've never heard a black man, maybe a few, but I've never really heard a black man speak like that before. And like the way I want to play that back one more time, y'all, because he was just like cooking with hot grease. So let's go back to that. Maybe we could do a Zoom one day and we could watch his Captain America movie.
Male masculinity. Right. You can have
Having your information freely
I
available on
need
the
to get my
internet
goddamn
makes it
premium
easier
back.
for anyone to impersonate you online or
all the celebrity in the world. Motherfucker jump through the door. That celebrity means nothing.
Yeah.
So you, because once you get one that's right, he gonna poking beans, you know?
I did though.
That's what I'm saying. But
Straight
that's
up.
real.
Yeah.
You know, that's where we came from. I keep my boys humble. Like my boys have never had a pair of Jordans. You know, my boys don't do all that internet fly shit. I'm like your kids. And you know, I don't give a fuck. I could be the biggest star in the world. Do not let me catch you being stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Do not. And my oldest gets it. My 15-year-old, he tells the other ones, he's like, yo, don't make dad mad. Because once you get one that's right, he gonna straighten the other ones out.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just that thing of, you know, in the past 20 years, we've been living through the death of the American male. They have literally killed masculinity in our homes and our communities for one reason or another. But I raised my boys to be young men. And however you feel about that, you feel about that. Right. But my boys will always be respectful. They will always say, yes, sir, yes, ma'am. No, sir, no, ma'am. They will always say thank you. They will always open the door for a lady. They will always make sure that their mother is taken care and provided for. They will always be men. And that's always since they were 2 years old. Every time I left for a job, I tell my 15-year-old, you're the man of the house. You make sure these doors are locked every night. This alarm is on. You text me or you call me every night before you go to bed and you wake up.
I love that.
Because we're men. If I'm not there to protect, he got to be there to protect. Because you can have all the money in the world, motherfucker climb through the window, that money means nothing. Right. You can have all the celebrity in the world, motherfucker jump through the door, that celebrity means nothing.
Yeah.
So you got to have a little guard in there, you know? And so for me, it's always that idea of American masculinity is very different. You feel it when you go to Europe. Like you see these, and you're like, could bust your ass, boy. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? You go to Europe,
tight ass pants.
Yeah, tight ass pants. Motherfucker, good boy. You better lotion your ankles. Like you feel it when you go to Europe. Even when you like, I was just in Kenya and I was walking around. I'm like, yeah. Dude was like, you ain't from here. Like, nah. Like, yeah, I could tell. I know you can. I could tell I ain't from here. You know what I mean? It's just that American male masculinity is something I think is very important for boys. Because now our little boys are afraid to fail, so they don't try. You know what I mean? When we were kids, we did tackle drills. We would run face first into each other.
We just talked about it. Dudes don't even talk to a woman face to face.
They don't know how no more because, women they are so mean and so angry. Bruh, I saw this, my nephew was talking to this girl. Oh my God, dude, she just killed him. I mean, he was like, excuse me, how you doing? She goes, ugh. How do you come back from that? He just walked over to me. I gave him his beer. I was like, there you go, bro. That didn't happen. Let's start over.
You said Betty White shot her shot at you and you flinched. You ain't doing
I was, yes. But the thing about it is, when you look at the reason I flinched and the reason I thought it was so funny, when you look at the history of her in Hollywood, it was actually like a touch of moment. Like Betty White had her own like Johnny Carson late night show. She was the first person to put a black man on television. Wow. And that's why they canceled her show. They were like, take him off. He was like the dance instructor for the show. He would dance on the show and they were like, take him off or you're gonna get canceled. One season she was canceled with a highly rated show. So you know, when you see who you're dealing with, when you go back and watch Golden Girls, you know what I mean? And when Don Cheadle, one of my favorite episodes of TV ever, there was a Golden Girl episode and Blanche came out and put the Confederate flag in front of the chicken booth. So Don Cheadle had this moment, bruh. And this is when I knew, I remember that. I was like, this dude ain't human. Like there's no way he's acting like this is the best actor of all time, hands down. Like I started acting because of Don Cheadle and this moment. Like the monologue he had, the way he cut them to pieces, the way he utilized his words about that flag. I was like, holy shit. That's what
Yeah, but we all understand the history of the Confederate flag. You know what I'm saying? I think people got that history misconstrued. You know, because our ancestors died under that flag just as much. So, if not more. So yeah, just shout out to everybody in the chat. I hope you all really enjoyed the show today. You know, I wasn't trying to come with too much energy or too much pressure. You know, just a little bit of pressure. You know, just to I need to put the I need to learn how to put pose in the chat too. Because literally this stemmed off a conversation that I had on Cut's channel, you know, with a particular person in the community or in the environment rather. And you know, she just continued to fight for this word black. It was nothing that we could tell her that would make her feel as though uh that black was incorrect, right? But I just kind of wanted to use these videos and use these analogies to kind of break that down a little bit more so that we can understand, you know, we not black. We just not. And it's a misnomer. My skin is not black. Y'all skin ain't black. We are the copper colored races of America. We are the true original indigenous people to America. And they know it. So, I mean, like I said, I'm going to throw it in there one more time, y'all. You know, because I mean, I would love a little bit of dialogue. But like I said, I know if y'all tired, I get it. Shout out to all 56 people watching. I really appreciate it. Thank you all so much for just chiming in and, you know, listening and giving yourself a chance to be enlightened a little bit more on a different scale. You know, I'm going to come back with my readings and things real soon. I'm really trying to get a whole new setup going, family. I'm really trying to get another microphone. I have my cute little mini microphone, but, you know, I really want to do more and get a whole situation going. And, you know, that's what it's going to be about. We're just going to keep it moving. We're going to keep building, keep growing, keep evolving. You know, there's events that I want to put together, you know, that so that we can come back in the fold as the family. You know, there's some Zoom calls that I want to get in place, things that, you know, don't involve YouTube so much, you know. I understand, y'all. It's still early in the day because I'm about to go get ready to cook my daggone self. So, you know, I'm just grateful for you guys. I love y'all down. Thank y'all for all y'all support since day one, since I decided to come into this space. I know a lot of fuckers. I wasn't trying to say that. A lot of feathers have been ruffled along the way, you know, but I'm glad all that stuff has been smoothed over now. And we could just get back to the information and we can get back into the fold of who we are and to understand that, you know, we're not going to allow certain rhetoric to be spewed. You know, we're going to speak on truth and truth only. And that's all we can do. So shout out to the sister American Isness. Hey, Brown Liquor No Ice. How you been, family? What's up, Enox? Yes. Big Dog Philly OG at the pool hall. Landy Hawk. David M. Who else we got? Tamiri Bull. Peace to you. Michael Akamak Harris. Peace to you. Hey, Patrick Gabriel. Peace and love, boo. Smokey. Hey, Smoke Signal. Gigi. What's the word, sis? You at work, ain't you, Gigi? That's why you ain't cutting up. That's the only reason why your butt ain't cutting up in that chat. You must be at work. So anyway, y'all, I think I'm gonna go ahead and close out. Y'all stay safe out here. Let me see. Maybe I could close out with a song. And you know, we just gonna keep doing what we gotta do, young. We gonna stay dangerous out this joint. In the words of BAP. Oh yeah. And I had to cancel, I had to reschedule with BAP because my ass was tired this past Friday, y'all. I'm not gonna even hold y'all because I be really having a lot going on during the week. I also have some other surprises too that I want to share with y'all, but I said I wasn't gonna share too much, you know, but things are you know, unraveling, they're evolving in my life, and I'm just grateful for my constant hard work, you know, because it's going to continue to pay off. And I hope you all continue to work hard and do what y'all got to do out here so we can be a part of the change that we want to see. when it's all said and done. But it's not going to happen if we are always at each other's throat every day about what somebody said or didn't say, do and didn't do. We got to grow up and we got to evolve past this. So, and I hope one day that we can. I really do, because I'm not nobody enemy, man. I'm all love, and we need to be showing each other love, especially in light of knowing who we are and knowing the truth that we ain't coming from Africa, baby, ever. So I'm gonna keep it rolling. Let me go ahead and end y'all out with that Drake Hobbs, and I'm gonna go get this damn dinner ready because I gotta get this little girl ready for school tomorrow and stuff like that. So, like I said, family, is love here. It's gonna forever be love. And hey, we gotta stay on topic. We gotta stay focused. Because every time that we go off topic, we never ever could really go back into the fold of the information. And it's always a problem. Like, we got to do better. We just got to do better. So, with that being said, I'm going to close on out. I hope you have a great rest of your evenings. Enjoy it with your families. You know what I'm saying? Try to educate someone next to you about the truth. Try to go into your genealogy. And I think somebody was asking me, did I do genealogy? No, I don't do genealogy. I always just recommend that you talk to your family, you talk to your relatives. You try to talk to as many people as you can about your family that may know something about your family. Anything, you know what I'm saying? Any little piece helps. Because really, just knowing names, birth dates, and places of birth can get you really far in a genealogy space. And once you start going back and looking through that history, you'll discover things that you didn't know. And you'll probably discover some things that hurt you too. So I always tell people, just be prepared for things that you might not want to hear or might not want to see, because our families, families been through some things, and our families, they made some decisions that they shouldn't have made. And, it's all good. The enemy's public. Peace and love to my big bro. Nick H, peace to you. So yes, shout out to my sister Copper Goddess. And if y'all want to run it back and play it, y'all go ahead and do that if y'all missed it. Enemies Public, I'm sorry, can you please put your email in the chat for me one more time? I know I asked before, because I'm gonna email you because I want to get you on for an episode as well. And anyone else who is interested in coming on one-on-one Fridays, I'd love to have you. We just need to have a conversation. If you got something to bring to the table, I welcome all energy. I know after I do BAP, it's gonna be OTK. So y'all look out for OTK on one-on-one Fridays. And then we'll just keep rolling like that. And that's how we're gonna keep rolling. And that's just what it's gonna be. So let me write down his email right now, because I know I had saw that piece that you did with what's his name, brother, Professor Griff. Man, I'd love to be able to get us to speak to him. I would love to be able to speak with him because he got some good information and he's super knowledgeable, and he obviously knows the truth about us being the Aboriginal indigenous people to America. And maybe you could, I don't know, we'll talk on the back end, but we just have to keep it going, young, and we have to keep these circles going and keep everybody in the know. And that's what this shit is all about. So shout out to you, brother Nasir. Shout out to you, Rain Alexander. Shout out to you, Landy Hawk. Shout out to all of y'all, man. And I probably end up doing a part 3 to my White Slavery is Not a Myth series. I got a lot of stuff popping that I need to get going, because there's so much information out here that, people, like they know it, but they don't know it at the same time. And it's our job to bring clarity to that information. All of us who call ourselves people on YouTube trying to, spread truth and spread knowledge. So on that note, I'm gonna go ahead and end it. And y'all be safe out here.
Who they think they better than? Ain't no comparison to the so-called black or African American. You can drop the African, keep the American. When we say Aborigine and make they world in, I'm going in the same dirt my ancestors buried in. I come from a god and a goddess, so what that make me? Not even Basquiat can trace me. Not even Van Gogh can paint me. The MC in me is the God MC, equals the God in me. I'm focused in, let my mind be free. You too blind to see. The Jews I give is real, it's been real. These ain't shots, they missiles. All you gonna hear is the whistle. Lyrically, this an execution. My verses start revolutions from my people seeking restitution. Since the beginning, fuck evolution. Or maybe my reality is all a dream. I put it together like I was sowing seams. So it seems this is that audio dopamine. Go against the machine, we put you where nobody can hear you scream. And sing you to meet your Elohim. My nigga, this is savage mode. It's something that you can't decode. It started with a spark and I'ma let it explode. I was given the cheat codes that'll let me dump and reload and go through them waves like a fucking torpedo. You dealt the cards of life, I just cut them diamonds with the ace of spades. Y'all scatter like roaches when they facing raid, or vampires when they facing blade. I'm trying to get next to Shireen like I'm getting played. You still stuck as a mental slave. You still stuck in that mental cage. While I'm making easy money, pipping holes in style. This my coming to age. Crowd roaring when I'm coming on stage. And when I'm done, they gonna be cheering my name. Drake Cobbs, and nah, I ain't quit my day job. I spit bars. I really rap on my day off. That's real shit. Just give you some tools you can build with. Aim high even if you still miss. Just keep going. It's a climb to the top. And I'ma keep flowing. Down Lake Shore, I'm Chicagoan. Yeah. You niggas is playing checkers, we playing chess. And nigga, this is checkmate. Dre be the big dog and you just a little bait. You out of Africa and we ain't got the same traits. I'm a God being and we ain't got the same fate. My granny died February 18th and I was born on the same date. The chosen one, the ancestors' chosen son. They gave me the golden gun. One shot, that's a hole in one. From the pyramid of the sun to Poverty Point. I don't think you niggas is getting the point. We still here. Who said they made the Aboriginals disappear? Your information's lagging in the rear. All you do is teach fear. We copper-colored with woolly hair. Am I speaking clear? So fuck the nonsense. When I rap, I touch your consciousness. From within is where you get your self-confidence. Let's bring it back to dominance. Ain't no confining us. Gonna bring that wild Indian out of us. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. We still here.